Still waiting on a couple. Okay, got one more. Maybe that's it. Okay. So we're going to talk about fake news tonight. And our Kahoot is going to be about fake or real news. So hopefully everybody is ready. I'm going to push start. Get your competitive juices flowing. And here we go. Ah, a couple of us thought that was real. Okay. All right, let's go to the next one. Grace is in the lead. Yay, Grace. Oh my. We were almost split on that one. Let's see. Who's in the lead? Uh-oh. Nicole took the lead. Okay. Next question. Wow. Hardly any of us knew that. That's pretty cool. I thought you all would know that one. All right, let's see. Oh, Isabel, it looks like you're on fire. All right, let's keep going. No buzz. Okay. Not too many of us are sure about that. Nicole, you're still in the lead. Wow. Okay. That was, nobody got that right. What in the world? What in the world? Okay, Nicole, still in the lead. I know, right? Okay. Come on, guys. You're supposed to know all this stuff. No cheating. Okay, Amelia, you've moved ahead. Let's go to the next one. Yeah, not, come on, come on. That was not a real picture. Okay. Amelia has moved ahead. Let's keep going. Diamond Rain. So wouldn't we like to live there? Pretty awesome. But Nicole's back ahead. Albert, you're on fire. No, Buzz. Very good. Getting better. We're getting better at it. Okay, let's keep going. Did we know bananas were berries and strawberries weren't? And do we know why? It has to do with the seeds. Okay. Yay, Grace is on fire. All right, let's keep going. A few more. Cereal is not dangerous. You can eat it. All right, Maggie's taking the lead. Okay. So bless the Uber driver's fault. Bless them. They're wrecking because of their riders. Okay, couple more questions. Oh, half and half here. So that is not, it's not true. US has not ever admitted that. Okay. Maggie's still in the lead. Yeah, that is not true. Now, however, I have seen them snatch animals, which is why I keep my Chihuahua close by me at all times. All right. Maggie's still in the lead. How does that make you feel? Confiscated a bomb and let them on board.
I wish that was fake.
I know, right?
But like the security, there's that's so weird.
Yeah. Okay. So we shouldn't fear Vladimir Putin right now. Maggie is still in the lead. We had 2 more questions. Yay! All right. Last question. Isabella, you might can overtake Maggie. Let's see. It looked like a real picture. I know. It looked like a real picture. All right. So let's see who our king or queen is. Jordan is third. Woo! Isabella's second, and yay, give Maggie a hand. Good job. Woo! And then Albert and Grace were runners up. Good job. Excellent. Okay, so let's think about this just a second. That was fun. I hope that was fun. How many of those, I mean, I don't think there was there one question that everybody got right? I don't think there was. I think there were several that a lot of us got right, but I don't think there was one that everybody got right. Did the, if it came with the picture, did that sway your opinion?
Yeah, it did a little.
Yeah. Especially if they look really real, and you know people are really good at making pictures look real even if they're fake. If they were like the US and Russia, if they were talking about really big names or countries, did that sway your opinion? No, a little bit. So let's put this in the context of our students in school and the access that they have to social media and the media. And as we know, there are battling networks of news stations, CNN and Fox and ABC and NBC and CBS and all the other stations. How do students spot what is fake? Now, granted, you guys didn't have very long to think about it, and you certainly didn't have time to research it. But how many of your kids do you think believe everything they see and hear and read?
I mean, if they're like younger kids, they probably do believe a majority of the stuff they see on the internet and read.
So how do we get them out of the habit of just believing everything they see and read?
When I was in school, we had to be taught how to identify fake stuff like that. So I think that if you were to teach kids how to identify fake resources, then that might be helpful.
Very good. Excellent. So that's going to lead us right into the next little activity. I have 3 articles linked here. You are going to choose one. And I want you to go into it and I want you to read it. And then I want you to go to this dot storming. You should be able to access. Let me make sure. And on the dot storming, I have put the 3 articles. How to identify fake news, how to spot real and fake news, and how to spot fake news. Whichever article you read, I want you to go in and under the title, I want you to put your ideas and your new learning under that article. I don't care which one you read. Choose one. I'm going to give you about 10 minutes. And then, or if I see you're done before that, and then we'll talk about it. So go ahead and choose one, go to the dot storming, and put down your learnings from that article, and then we'll come back. Okay, I think it just have about everybody. So let's go ahead and look here. The first article, how to identify fake news. We have comments talking about how to avoid spam emails, talking about Google and other large companies, concerned about how they'll crack down on fake news sites, whatever, they're everywhere. Jesselyn says you can spot fake news by not only the image, but the source of the news, that it might be a parody article, and then that talking about spam emails and random accounts, it makes you look more in depth at the source. So any of you that read that, tell me about that just a little bit. Tell me about what you should look for in your emails.
Yeah, I can talk about it. It had said like there was like a couple of like big things. It was like talking about how to check the author, and then also like check the date as to when it was posted. And then another one, it was like ask the question like, does this look like it's some kind of joke? Does it look like it's actually real or not?
Okay. What about how has anybody ever clicked on a spam email and gotten themselves, their computer crashed or gotten themselves to a place they didn't want to be? Has anybody in here ever done that or know somebody that's done that? Or are y'all just too computer savvy? I will say that we have our teachers so scared of clicking on anything anymore that an email was sent last week from the district, and it had the county's name on it and the district, and it was an email about fishing, the PH fishing, not fishing with the rod and the reel. And they were afraid to click on it because it was an email about fishing, and they were afraid that it was not a real email. And I got email after email saying, is this real? Can I open this? Is this real? Like, yeah, you can open it. It came from the district. But they were so afraid because in a school, when you're using their device, you want to be very, very careful about the emails that you click on. So looking at a date, looking at the dot wherever it came from, looking at the person who sent it, if you don't know them or know the company that it's coming from, looking at the author themselves of the article, checking comments on the article or the email or whatever it is. All of those are really smart things to do. As Jesselyn says, images can be, we know can be changed, just like that one image on the Kahoot of the shark swimming, at the escalators. That was nothing more than a fake image. But if you see it and it pops up, and especially kids, they're going to believe it because they see it. You have to be real careful about you yourself and what you share with students, and then your students themselves, what they bring to the table and to the classroom. All right, the second article, how to spot real and fake news. Looks like some of the same comments. Jordan mentioned that it brings up the risk of spreading news before you have authenticated it yourself. That's how rumors get started. There have been many, many examples of that, whether it's a star that's passed away or an election that's been won, or it can be a natural disaster, anything like that, that is the only one out there reporting, or it seems to be the first one out there reporting. You have to be really careful. Jordan mentioned here that if you can't find another outlet, it's a pretty good indicator that it's fake. So you can't just take that one person's view for it. Anyone else who read, oh, I see Facebook on there. Facebook is full of lies, okay? Full of fake news. Don't believe Facebook. Anyone who read this article want to kick in, jump in here? Olivia, you mentioned that it has 6 helpful ways to separate real and fake. What are those?
Let me get back to the article real quick.
Okay, sure.
It says develop a critical mindset, check the source, see who else is reporting the story, examine the evidence, don't take images at face value, and check that it sounds right.
Okay, and I think that's probably some of the things that you have been told in the past, to be very critical of what you're reading and what you believe. And even if it's a source that in the past you have believed and it has been credible, that doesn't mean that it is now. It doesn't mean that it's real now. And, back when we relied on paper, on newspapers and magazines and books for our information, it's a little less likely that the news was fake. Now, with all the social media things out there, Twitter and Instagram and Facebook are full of fake information. Even if it looks real, it's not necessarily going to be real. All right, the last article, I liked this page. It talked about how you look at capital letters, misspellings. This is not a hoax. Those are red flags. Definitely red flags. And those are things that kids don't necessarily know to look for. Somebody jump in on this last article, how to spot fake news.
One of the really good points that it made, it was saying like, you'll definitely notice if it's not a legitimate source, if it doesn't have sources listed, like if it's just an article or something, but it doesn't point back to actual information, that's pretty sketchy. And then I thought back to like in high school, some of my teachers were saying, depending on where you get your information from, the URL can kind of determine how official it is, because you have like .com, which is commercial, which pretty much anyone can do, but then you have more like solid places like .gov, .edu. So definitely check like where you're actually getting it from.
Yes, I really appreciate you throwing that in there. And that is one of the easiest things to teach your students. Look at the URL. If it is a .com, it might be true, but it may not. .gov, .edu, definitely. If it's a .net, you don't want to mess with it. So that right there is one, just instantly you can say yes, use it, or yes, not. What are some of the other things that you found here? Anyone?
Something that I actually hadn't thought about was looking at the author, and especially the article mentioned. There was one article where the author claimed to like win a bunch of like Pulitzer prizes and stuff, and you look up the name, and there's no one under that name that's won anything like that. So that's everything else. When I was reading, were things like, yeah, I know, like look past the headline, that kind of thing. But I never thought to really look into the author that much and see if they're actually credible or not.
Yeah, I think that is a great point to pull out, because anybody can say they won a Nobel or Pulitzer Prize. I mean, and if you see that, you're going to think, oh yeah, that's great. But go beyond that. Check on that person. Check and see if they're really real, they really exist, and if they really did win those prizes. Because they, like I said, they could make up their name, they could make up their whole resume, and you would never know. Is there anything else that anyone in any of these articles found that they didn't think before or didn't know before? So it looks like one of the biggest things here that maybe you didn't think of before that you're thinking of now is looking at that author, looking at who the writer is, looking at their credentials, and all the other things that you said are obvious, like the URL and the date and the looking beyond the title, looking at the source, like did it come from Time? Did it come from CNN? Did it come from the BBC? Did it come from PBS? Where did it come from? Those are all very, very important elements to look into. And those are all very important things to teach your students. You can, I've got some elementary people in here. Middle and high is a little bit easier to get those concepts across to kids. Let's think younger kids for a second. How can we help our younger kids? What would be a strategy or something that you would think about introducing to your younger students to help them recognize fake and real?
I mean, personally, I'm not planning on teaching younger kids, but I feel like a lot of younger kids are like familiar with YouTube, specifically YouTube Kids, and a lot of the video titles and thumbnails are kind of just like one of the articles mentioned clickbait, which makes you want to click on the video more, even if the content in the video isn't accurate. So I feel like in a way they kind of maybe understand it already a little bit, not very in depth, but maybe kind of explaining this this video isn't all that it's like saying it is because of the way it's like being presented.
Mhm. I like that you brought up clickbait. What is clickbait? And we all probably know what it is. What is it?
Something to catch your eye to make you click on a link or a video.
Yep. Has anybody recently clicked on clickbait? No, yeah, maybe. Don't want to tell us if you did?
My dad has a really bad habit with clickbait. And it's funny, I actually just forwarded him all of these articles to get him to stop. But it's funny because my dad really likes things like history and like, cool stuff, but like that's stuff that, like content that's often made into clickbait, especially on YouTube. So it's a constant battle because he's just curious, but I'm always like, make sure like see if it's like History Channel, or like make sure like if a YouTuber is putting out content, like do they have a degree in history or whatever. But it's very interesting because he's very stubborn, because he'll try to tell me something and I'm like, I don't know if that's actually true or not. But he's a very stubborn man, and doesn't like to listen. So I don't really know how to get it through his head that not every source is on, especially Facebook, reliable.
So do you think, I'm glad you said that. Do you think those of us that are a little older are more apt to click on clickbait and fake news than you younger generation?
I would definitely say so. Personally, I don't even really use Facebook. I have it for like professional reasons. But like I know that's where my dad, that's like the only social media he uses.
Right.
So I feel like if you're someone like me, like I use like Twitter, Instagram occasionally, Snapchat, and TikTok. TikTok actually does have a lot of fake news on it, but like that's, but like I feel like once you see all of those things, it's easier for you to decipher what actually is accurate and not, because you're presented with like more content, I guess. Like I guess you discern, like you develop your own bias. But I personally, I like to listen to the news. Like I listen to podcasts, and like I try to like get them from like friends and stuff. And like I usually look up the podcast beforehand, but like that's just like me.
Right.
So I don't know. I just feel like personally my mom is like very on my dad about fake news stuff, because she cares a lot about law and things being truthful. But I think it just depends on the person. My dad is just kind of stuck in this Facebook bubble, and doesn't want to pop out. So
talking about Facebook and some of the other social medias, a lot of the clickbait that I see revolves around, and I know that Facebook has to know how old you are and what gender you are and what your political beliefs are. So a lot of what my Facebook pops up are anti-aging stuff. Buy this pill and you'll lose 10 years. Buy this face cream and you'll see the wrinkles disappear in 2 days. Things like that. Do you see those kind of things popping up on your other social medias?
I can kind of comment on this, I guess. So I actually just started using a browser that doesn't allow it to like track me or anything. And after using that, like my ads have completely changed and they're like not specific at all. But prior to that, like anything that I would look at that was kind of like specific, it would end up popping up, or like it was almost like they did know exactly how old I was and like all that kinds of stuff, like stuff geared towards like my age and my gender and stuff like that. So it's definitely interesting to see like how they pull all of that.
It really is, and it's really scary as well that all of that information seems to be tracked. So you guys are at the age where I think you're becoming discerning about what you look at and what you click on and what you listen to and what you have in your email and open in your email and so forth. People my age who didn't grow up with the internet, I think that's why, Isabella, your dad's in such a bubble, because when we were your age, we didn't have all this stuff. So we're trying to catch up to where you guys have already been and you're on the other side. So that's what makes it so dangerous for our young kids as well, because at home, they don't have a lot of guidance. And they may have parents like me and Isabella's dad who are just clicking on everything, and we don't, sometimes we don't think about it and we don't study it and we don't research it. So it's going to be up to the school to make sure that we do teach kids about all of these things, about how to spot fake and real, but also these other things like clickbait and these fake advertisements and the things that draw you in and take your money. They'll sell you anything saying it's going to cure all your ills, when we all know it's the same thing, just in a different bottle. So all of these things are really, really important, and we can start at a young age. I think you're right with the YouTube Kids and all the different things that our kids are exposed to now. It is never, ever too early to start talking to kids about things that they hear, things that they see, and talking about, is it real, is it fake, and digging in there with them to help them understand, is it real or is it fake? The biggest caution I would say there is always stay away from politics and always stay away from religion. Allow that to happen at home. But anything else that you want to address within your classroom, dealing with fake news, real news, just make sure that you have what you need to back yourself up. Make sure that you have what you need to prove what you're saying is real or fake. Because you certainly don't want to send a kid home saying, my teacher said what you said was a lie. My teacher said it wasn't real. And then you get the phone call from the parent, from the superintendent, from the principal. It says, you shouldn't have done that. So you gotta be real careful about it. But at the same time, make sure you teach your kids to be discerning, and make sure you teach them to be good pursuers of information, not just believing everything they hear and see. All right, any questions or comments anyone would like to make to add to our discussion? Okay, so I kind of like this little picture here dealing with the Time magazine, the Global Warming Survival Guide, or How to Survive the Coming Ice Age. You could believe both, and you put that on Time and everybody's going to believe it. So again, be discerning about what you consume and what you believe and what you read. All right, so Wednesday, we are not meeting in person, okay? Wednesday, and you can do this anytime, but I have a Google form that I want you to work through. Now, it will take you about an hour, which is why we're not going to meet on Wednesday. That will be your class time. So work on it whenever you want to. Once you submit it, of course, it'll come to me. So you don't have to submit anything into Moodle. You don't have to submit an assignment. It's just this Google form. So there's a warning here that says it will take about an hour. So I would suggest writing your answers in another document if you think you're not going to finish it all at one time, or if you think you might lose your work, because it will refresh if you lose connection, or if you work on it a little while and then come back to it. So if you don't think you can sit for an hour and complete it, just put your answers somewhere else and then go back in and fill out the form. And I'm just going to click on it so that you can see what it looks like if you haven't already clicked on it. There's just going to be some different things for you to look at, to peruse, to answer, and make sure that you answer all of the questions. So you're going to put your name, and then it just kind of shows you how fake news spreads. It's like gossip, like rumors. You tell 2, you tell 3, they tell 10, and before you know it, the whole world knows. So there's going to be some videos for you to watch and then some questions for you to answer concerning the videos that you watch. Let's see, I'm just going to scroll through there. It's not going to let me go on further. That's fine. It's several pages. So just realize it's going to take you about an hour. Again, you can work on it today. You can work on it Sunday. I don't care as long as I get it before we meet again on Monday. All right. So you've got from now until Monday at 6 o'clock to finish your form. And I'm sure all of you will probably get it done way before then. But it just kind of helps you think again about fake news and being media literate. All right. So any questions? You don't have an assignment besides that. That's the only assignment that you have for this week. This is week 12. And I know, so for the next few weeks, it's going to be pretty light going. We may or may not meet both classes. Just at this point in the semester, you know, things are winding down, and I know you're busy with studying and readings and all that great stuff. So this is a little bit of a break for you. So we will meet again next Monday, right? Because it's not Thanksgiving yet. Yep, and that'll be week 13. And then we'll finish up with our fake news and talk a little bit more about some other medias. I'm going to be giving you some work time for your final project as well, coming up in the next few weeks. So from this point on, it's kind of like sliding into home. Not going to be a whole lot of new stuff and a whole lot of extra work. So hopefully that'll help lighten your load for your other courses. Okay. Any questions, comments, concerns before we break?
Yeah, real quick. For the final project, if we want to like have you look over any aspect of it, can we like email you or anything?
Yes.
Just ask.
Yeah, just email me, please do, and I will get right back to you as soon as I can. And yeah, anytime you have questions or concerns, just email me, but I'll be glad to look at it as well. Okay. Anything else? All right, guys, we'll have a great week and weekend, and I will see you Monday. All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.